Hello and welcome to Infamous MCP, the audio podcast. This is Brandon or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Josh. I go by Grumelzog on Discord.
As always, links in the show notes. Welcome back to another riveting episode. Surely on this riveting episode we have new news, don't we?
We are chock full of news. There's so much going on that they haven't posted anything in weeks about it. They're just overwhelmed. So
I do believe there was an announcement, not to rag on them, but there's a price hike coming. That's all I saw.
I did see that. We're getting those.
I mean, that's to be expected. It's nothing that they're choosing to do.
Yeah.
Costs go up.
Just business stuff. So
yeah.
I think with Brotherhood getting delayed, I kind of hope that doesn't push everything else back. Kind of hope they decide to we'll just do like 3 boxes this month. Like, cool. But I don't know. I'm not a businessman, so.
I'm pretty sure we've been closer to 3 boxes a quarter than 3 boxes a month, so.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't bother me. I actually think the lax release pace is good for games that are established. If you race product out, you're only going to cause more problems. We see that kind of across the industry right now. Like Games Workshop, it has a breakneck release schedule. It's honestly insane. I have no idea how they even accomplish it, but it causes issues. Like getting stuff pre-ordered is absolutely impossible. Like their mission pack, like people complain about AMG's mission pack, but we ordered 45 of the mission cards for 40K. We got 12, which you can imagine what the other, 32 people that ordered them or thought about that.
Yeah.
Not to mention they've announced that not only are they sold out, they probably won't have more for months and months and months. And it's not a deck of like 12 cards. It's a deck of 89 cards. And so it's not like you can just remember. And so that's a whole different problem. And so I'm glad that we don't have that issue personally.
And I do think maybe to do a little bit of a silver lining, but with how they've kind of been talking about trying to balance up more characters, I think the relaxed release pace will help just because you don't... They're trying, I assume they're trying not to drop another CGR into the meta and actually release things that are more balanced and playable that they don't have to patch notes right away. So having the opportunity to work on both and then be like, okay, these came out, cool. They're, the meta's looking good. We can do this, we can do that is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was a very different game when they designed CGR as well. Like we were on the old mission pack, which is much more, fighty list friendly. And on top of that, they were experimenting with, is a 6-point model that doesn't contest like usable, right? Like they had never experimented with that kind of stuff before. You had never been like, can I bring a Hulk level model that doesn't contribute to scenario play at all and still win the game? And so that's obviously a lot of experimentation, and clearly they missed the mark, but I don't think we'll see anything like that again, because I think they've now experimented and learned their lesson.
Yeah. But I am okay with experimentation. I'm okay with them. I would like them to push out a couple more weird characters where I'm like, this is just fun to play. Maybe it's not the most competitive thing, but like you're just doing silly shit while you play, and I enjoy those kind of models. But yeah, I think August is when we'll get new Brotherhood stuff, so a ways away.
So we got the update on the affiliation list. Were you surprised at all?
No. I know my little brother is very happy about the Lady Mastermind and Hellfire Club. I didn't really think anybody else was going to go anywhere. I could have seen Phoenix being in Hellfire Club, but that was like a TV show only thing. I don't really know if she did that much in the comics. And I like I've said before, that card has too much reading, so I don't even know if she would have just been busted in Hellfire Club or not, because it's still a really good leadership. It's just they're playing with fair models now, so
I don't know if you've physically looked at the document recently, but I was scrolling on my phone And on page 6, you get to the point where it says Phoenix and Phoenix Unleashed, and if you look directly up, the first named affiliation is S.H.I.E.L.D. And I went, what the fuck? And so then I realized, oh no, it's because it cuts off and it restarts on the next page. So I was, oh, it's Uncanny X-Men. That obviously makes sense. But for a moment on my phone, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
that would have been hilarious. Most wild
yeah,
card, just like, yeah, dude, she's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She's
yeah.
in there. It's like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that would have been crazy. So no, not really any news, just like the standard affiliation list.
Yeah.
I agree. I was not expecting Hellfire Club to get a new member so soon. I don't recall Lady Mastermind ever being in Hellfire Club, but whatever. I think Hellfire Club is already way off on the deep end of like what we
Yeah.
expect. So
So
like Omega Red, like what are you doing over there, buddy?
she should have been there only because her dad is one of the main Hellfire Club members, and then he dies and she takes his spot. I think his name is literally
That makes
Mastermind.
sense.
And then
Okay.
like he dies, she's like, "Well, I'm Lady Mastermind and I am a Hellfire Club member." And they have very similar like illusion, mind control, power set sort of thing going on.
Makes sense.
So we'll see what my little brother can cook up, because I know he's been really looking. I think we've probably talked about this before, but he's always astonished that like he looks at Magneto's win rate. It's like, yeah, man, he's got like a 49% win rate, and it's like, really? He does? All right, maybe there's something there. And I know he's looking at something to try outside of Wakanda, so I assume he'll do a Brotherhood / Hellfire Club leadership and just see what he can find.
Yeah, I really want to start panhandling just random bullshit in a list and seeing if I can get something that has traction in Brotherhood. I don't think Brotherhood is good right now. I think they're actually really bad. The 49% win rate on Longshanks does not make sense to my brain. Like, I cannot believe that it's true. And so my brain immediately goes to, how can I justify this? Like, there must be one guy just out there murdering all of his locals, like, to make this make sense. And I was like, yeah, but then I don't want to say that like somebody's trying to do that, so it'd have to be totally random. And I will 100% believe there are diehard Magneto fans out there, because I'm one of them. And I could definitely see, like in the right situation, he does excel. I just don't see that situation being competitive MCP right now.
Yeah, I've never played him or the affiliation, so I don't know enough about it. But I do think it's one of those things, because like I think how we figured that out was all the little updates dropped. There was no Magneto update. We're like, we had been discussing in our own chat for a while. We're like, if Magneto becomes a 5, is he broken? It's like, no. Like,
No,
what's he doing? What's he
Yeah.
doing that like Thor 1 isn't doing at a 5 threat? Like, they have the
No,
same
yeah,
amount
like-
of health. Like, everything's really similar. So why is he a 6? Like, you could just drop him down, not change a thing on his card. Cool, good to go. And so
I don't think that fixes it. It's that the game that they want you to play now is not the game that he was designed to excel at.
Not at all.
He's meant to set up, defend 1 point with your whole list standing there to fight, because he was designed when Gamma and like single extract missions were a thing. And he was a nightmare in those situations, just like Thanos was a nightmare on Researcher. Like, if you got to play Researcher with Magneto, it was fine. Like, you had a plan. All you had to do is defend the middle, and he does that as good as anybody else.
Yep.
But just like She-Hulk, like, she doesn't do that. Like, she can't play scoundrels. Like, it's not what she does. And so it's not that the model is bad. I think everyone would agree Magneto's kit is a fine kit. It's just he's not meant to excel in the situations you're asking him to be in. Then you see models like Namor who have like move long charges, and it's like, that's more where the game is now. You need to go from your defensive objective to their defensive objective in a single move and be able to daze the person when you get there. Anything else is not what high tempo MCP is all about.
It does. Go ahead.
No, that's pretty much my point.
I was just say the game does feel very blitzy right now, especially with when we get to my list. It's actually designed with that in mind. Of you just need to go overwhelm your opponent on their side of the board while winning as much as you can. And if you can't do that, then you need to be able to bunker on your side of the board very, very well.
Yeah. And just to clarify on my side, when I'm saying like Namor does that, it's not that I'm just blitzing at you, because I don't think that's really ideal in the game. It's that I can stand on my point and then at any moment choose to cross the table and get to you. Like, let's say in this example, you have random 3-point defensive models standing on your back point. Like, let's say Luke Cage is over there, and I have Namor on my side. Well, as your model has no ability to affect the game if you're just standing on a point, I can cross the table and threaten one-shotting you to take your extract away. And worst case scenario, let's say I fail, I still get to contest your blue, and then I can have anyone from my side hold my back point for me. Those kinds of models that can make those big long moves and potentially affect scenario play instantly are, I think, the models that we are looking at.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move into, you wanted to talk a little bit about your list. So let's talk about what you took to the tournament. Same list, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have Shadowlands in there. I forgot him on Saturday. But yeah, it was this is the same list I ran at Bug Eater. The list I ran last week. I think it's what I'm going to be playing for a while, but there are basically 2 slots I can kind of shore up that I'm looking to see what we can do. So
let's just do basic concept and then just run through it real quick.
So the basic idea is I am Criminal Syndicate Asgard, because I like playing Asgard, and I think that actually with what I'm trying to do with Kingpin, the Asgardian models lend me an advantage because they already want to go up and fight, and now they're counting as 2, on top of having a little bit of control. So most of my games, it's worked out pretty well, for the most part, is me charging my Asgardian models up while playing under Crime Sin and fighting on points and scoring those points every single round because I'm counting as 2. And then it gives me a pivot. This has got to be 6 or 7 episodes back, but we kind of talked about right after Adepticon the whole, can you run a dual affiliation list that is doing different things? And so I wanted to test that. And so far, it's been pretty good. Because there are games where I'm definitely like, I want to play Asgard, right? Like I want to play
Well, Josh,
Asgard into this.
I think you have to admit that that's a you problem and not a game problem.
Oh, I agree.
Because you want to play Asgard into everything.
I do. I would like to play Asgard forever. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the idea. Is the list for the most part is designed around specific crises and leaderships that I play on those crises.
All right, so let's just run through the characters real quick.
Characters are Mighty Thor, Loki Prince of Lies, Shadowland Daredevil, Valkyrie, Lady Sif, Taskmaster, Kingpin, Beta Ray Bill, Kraven the Hunter, and Bullseye. The 2 slots that I'm looking at, probably dropping or changing, are Kraven and Taskmaster.
I'm just throwing those together on my end real quick.
Okay. So I'll just go over my thoughts a little. I wanted to try Kraven, specifically. I was kind of looking for a 3 to slot into Asgard, and under Mighty Thor, he's getting double rerolls on his attacks and his defense. But admittedly, he's pretty squishy. He does not really have any move tech, and he's just a small base medium. So in the couple games I've tested, he really hasn't done very much for me because it feels like you're giving up a move to be able to attack. So then you don't get to really do his double combo, hit them for a bunch of dice with rerolls, and they just clap him because it's that problem of, well, now he's within 2, he's not getting the defensive reroll. And then Taskmaster is just kind of in there as a pretty decent 3. He's affiliated with Crime Syndicate, but I mean, he's affiliated with everybody. And I've played, probably getting pretty close to 20 games or so with this list, I think. and I think I've brought him once. And to me, that kind of
Craven?
no, Taskmaster.
Taskman. Okay. Yeah, I see where.
Yeah,
No,
Craven.
we're good. I forgot you said Taskmaster at one point. I'm like, wait, what? Okay,
What?
got you. Yeah, no, you're
Um,
good.
but yeah, so I'm kind of like when I'm looking at a list or I'm trying to hone a list. To me, that means that's kind of dead weight. That could be something else. He's not doing anything for me.
Yeah.
He's not attached to any cards.
Taskmaster, same with like Magneto earlier. His just complete lack of proactive tempo is really hard to sell. But he is an exceptional piece at surviving things like rapid fire attackers or just holding a point as the cheapest 3-pointer you can get that's in affiliation. Like he's going to hold a point comparably well to other things, right?
Yeah.
The fact that he can potentially be rolling 5 dice with martial artist is big. Like he's got a decently good ranged attack. There's not really anything wrong with him, but he's not going to win you any games, right? It's just like decently efficient.
Yes, and that's essentially where we're at. I'm like, he could always be added later, but he's not adding anything to my list currently.
Sure.
So I want to explore what else is out there.
So real quick, I'm missing one model that you went through. So I'm going to go through what I have. Tell me what I'm missing. Mighty Thor, Loki 2, Valkyrie, Beta Ray Bill, Sif, Bullseye, Shadowlands, Craven, Taskmaster.
Kingpin.
Okay, I thought you had Kingpin. Okay. Having 4 leaders in your list seems like a lot. Now I agree. I would assume that Loki's probably never leading.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Kingpin has obvious value as a leader. Shadowlands, is he a leader for you? Do you usually play as leader?
Yes. So
okay.
He is specifically for my Senator's game plan. Okay. Because I feel like he does pretty well on that. It's basically doing what you want to do, where it's like they can't run away from you very well. They're always going to be holding a bunch of points. So having that reroll when they're holding something helps, and then it plays into the also like Sif or Mighty Thor. I'm already getting rerolls off of them. Now I can reroll out of any skulls that I got. So he is specifically for Senators. He is still being tested under Mighty Thor to great success, actually. Great success. And I'm liking how that plays. So
okay. So who do you think is the weakest of your 2-3s you're looking at, Craven or Taskmaster?
I'm gonna say Craven.
Okay. And so that's because you value the consistency over the potential?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think both of these models are fine, but neither of them are good. I think if you had to put either of them on the table, you're probably not going to be hugely disappointed, but you're rarely going to be impressed. I would personally say cut Taskmaster unless Kingpin is your go-to. If Kingpin is your most common leader, I would say keep Taskmaster.
So it's pretty much hovering around like a pretty much just 50-50 Mighty Thor Kingpin. So it's super dependent on what the mission is. And yeah. So you say cut Taskmaster?
Well, if you're playing Kingpin a lot, then Taskmaster I think is better. But I'm not a personal fan of your list style. I think I think there is value in the concept. Kingpin making your elite models count as double is kind of counterintuitive, except that your elite models generally all have displacement in a very consistent way, which is good. Now, when you expand that, then you go, well, are the Asgardians the most efficient displacers for their point value? Probably not, but you get other value with them, like they get a higher power output. They generally hit a little bit harder. They're generally a little bit stouter, but you're paying a premium for that. In Kingpin, I think his biggest value is making fodder better. Now that doesn't mean you should just take the squishiest models available, but I think you do better to remove the Asgard component and just put in other more efficient models. And there is a surprising amount of overlap that I didn't know about before. But I guess my question is have you ever considered playing Ulik?
Ulik has been a debate for a while.
Okay.
I kind of talked about like, am I looking for a 5, a 4, or another 3 for this slot? I kind of lean towards the 5, just to have that option of another killing model. So Ulik is definitely on the short list for choices, especially because I have been playing. It's very pricey, but I've been playing Loki under Kingpin because he's also a criminal syndicate model.
Sure.
And it works to some success. I mean, Loki just kind of sits there and spins, right? Other than like the long move and being able to undo some displacement, he doesn't add a ton of value to the Kingpin. But
yeah, I would think not.
He's also deceptively hard to kill, and so I can kind of camp a flank with him and just be like, I'm going to have this. And there's very little you can do about it. But it's also 9 points.
Yeah, like as a 5-pointer, I would think you could do better for the Kingpin style of play. He's not terrible. Like you said, he's got some good points. Like, to be able to undo displacement, the long move is good. But like as far as like the thing people usually take him for, which is the what a pity, that's not really your plan. It's actually counterintuitive because you're giving your opponent power that they wouldn't normally have to use to kill you. But then there's the, because you're doing the Asgard component, it looks more, beneficial because, he's there for the Asgard side. But the same thing, I don't think your Asgard component wants Principalize. I think it's very much not the game plan you have. I don't know that he fits well in this list. Do you play him a lot?
Oh yeah, all the time. Under both
all the time.
Under both leaderships, honestly.
So well, you didn't against me.
No, I didn't.
You did? I don't remember that.
No, I don't think I did.
No, you didn't. You also didn't play Shadowlands though because you forgot.
Yes, I did forget him, which was unfortunate because it could have maybe used him against CJ in our game. But
I just want to take a moment here because people at home probably won't recognize what an accomplishment this is. But I think you've made real progress here because you openly admit that Kraven is far worse than Valkyrie. I think that's a real step forward for you.
I'm sure if you go back on some cast, I probably talked about Valkyrie. Talk about Valkyrie. I have been fully converted. She is a very solid, reliable 3. She does the things that we want. In our game, I paid for the Warrior of Legend, and I rolled 3 or 4 wilds.
8 on 6,
and
or
so it's like, I changed all of those to hits. Congratulations. So she is very solid, and the displacement. I really like the ability to just like.
Yeah, she can just say go away. And so few 3-pointers can just say go away for a reasonable amount of power.
If my 4 or 5s are like move throwing, I'm like, eh. But if my 3 is going move throw, sure. Yeah, that entirely works for me.
Well, that's the thing about Valkyrie though. She can like move throw charge because that's only 5 power. Like that's not that much, especially for excuse me, an Asgardian. Like that's very reasonable. Oh, yeah. And like Bill's great because, he can throw size 4s, but like a lot of characters are size 2 turns out. And so especially if you are paying attention to that, you're leveraging her in the right spots from the start of the game. She can really get a lot done for that kind of stuff. Okay, so let's just go ahead and cut Kraven and Taskmaster. Just get rid of them so we're not sunk cost.
Okay.
So they're out of the list. If we want to add them back in, we can. You would be an absolute idiot not to play Black Cat. I don't know why she's not in here already.
Black Cat should be in there, I admit.
She 100% should have been in this list from the beginning. She's so much better than both of the characters we just named. She's tankier than Taskmaster. Like, what are we talking about? It's so dumb. This character is so broken. You're even playing her affiliation. Like,
you are correct.
So that was I was just waiting to scream at you. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? If you were to consider Ulik, I would say you need to consider Wong. Cut Bullseye for Wong. Bullseye's way less good than he used to be, and I understand that he's affiliated. I don't think getting affiliated is a big problem, considering the big reason to have Wong is for Ulik. Get him to do his crushing leap on the first turn.
Yeah.
He also starts healing Kingpin, starts healing Ulik. That becomes a serious problem, because then now those models are never going away. That's just a thought. I just want to bring that up. All right, so let me look here.
So some other ones that I think I had kind of talked about, or with my brother and roommate, was I don't hate Gwenpool. I think she's a solid model. She is affiliated. She has a placement, which I value very highly. If you'll notice, not everyone, but a lot of people in the list either have a charge or a placement, just something to get me where I need to go. And she's got DR. She probably wouldn't get played under Mighty Thor very often, but she doesn't hate the leadership as well. And I kind of have, we're not there yet, but I have 2 bunk cards that I realized were worse than I thought they were, because I just can't read, apparently. And so I don't hate her turn off your defense roll card to just execute someone. I had a lot of success with that when I played her in Avengers a bunch, because you can place move, go do an attack if they've been flipped, and maybe just kill their leader. And there's just nothing they can do short of a tactic card or something.
And what is it? What card are you talking about?
What is it called?
Inexplicable Demise? No, it's Squirrel Girl.
Keep your enemies close. So it says either it's Squirrel Girl or Gwenpool, play 3. During the next attack, if you target an enemy within 1, they roll no defense. If you target an enemy that is not within 1, place a target character within 1 of the character that played this card.
Okay, I think that's the much better of the 2 effects, but
you can grab someone at range 4 with Gwenpool and just go poop, you're over here.
Yeah, that's not irrelevant. The ignoring the defense roll thing, unless they're like a super martial artist or something, I don't know. That just doesn't seem nearly as important. It is nice. It's not irrelevant.
Yeah. I think when I played her, I didn't bring it every time, but I was also playing No Try This One because CJ hated it, and it was just like, at any given time, I'll just grab whatever tactic card I need that I didn't bring to start. So, for nothing. It cost me nothing.
I'd be interested to see MODOK played with Loki Prince of Lies, but I think the slot we're talking about is Loki's slot. So if you're adamant on Loki staying in the list, I don't think another 5-pointer's really in the cards.
Yeah, like I said, I'll probably try out Ulik because I kind of like what he's doing, and that slot is real variable, right? I don't feel like the Asgardian part of the list really needs any shoring up. I've got a very efficient core in Mighty Thor, Sif, Valkyrie, which is 12, I believe. So it's pretty set. The other ones I kind of thought of was Logan the Wolverine, but he's just pushed. So who doesn't want? He can either kill more under Mighty Thor or teleport to now count as 2 on a back point with Kingpin. Right, he does everything you want. And then Rhino. I don't have Rhino in there. Rhino's still very good.
Yeah, Rhino's fine. I think you need more 3-pointers, so I would focus more on that. My advice would be to add Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, so Ant-Man can get to any secure point on the board on turn 1 to overflip because you're playing Kingpin. He can alternatively do a 6 dice with a leadership reroll with Mighty Thor on the first turn, basically anywhere. Because he gets to move medium, transform range 1, place 3, and then attack at range 1. So he can basically attack the back Bs as long as your opponent isn't max distance away from them with a 6 dice with a reroll. And so while he's not likely to one-shot a lot of people with that, he'll set them up to be killed on like top of 2. And you're in position to, if you place him correctly, you can use his defensive place when they target him to size change to place out of line of sight because he goes to size 1. So you can just make sure like he ends up on a car or like near a dumpster or something. And no matter who attacks you, it's like, oh, place behind. And now I'm basically miles for this attack.
Yeah.
And then you can't see me anymore. And it's like, oh, this is actually really hard to get this guy off the table.
Yeah, I think He's a little squishy, but I do like what he's doing. I mean, he's doing everything I want. He's got the place. It looks like he's got rerolls when he's in tiny, so I can just rerolls my
Yeah, he has
rerolls.
spider senses while he's small, and he can
Stealth.
change to size small when he gets targeted, so you can always choose to do it. It only costs 1 power. And he can do a 7 dice beam in normal size or a 6 dice uppercut in his small size, and that's a free attack.
I do
It's
think
not a spender.
I like this Ant-Man idea.
He's also super fun to play with because he can just go wherever he wants.
Yeah.
The fact that it's not an action, it doesn't cost power, he just places range 3 is so stupid. Like, you see, he's like, how does this make sense? He's like, no, he's just fast. Like, he's so fast.
He's just doing it. He's going where he wants.
Mm-hmm. The thing you do have to pay attention to is when he's small, he can't hold extracts.
Yeah.
That's the big reason he doesn't see a lot of play. But with Kingpin, you're more focused on the secures anyway. And what you can do is you can pick up an extract and like move it away from the enemy and then change size to drop it near your people. And a lot of people don't think about that. And so you can use it to intentionally move your extracts around.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially, I got to remember this too. I need to write it on my hand. Friggin' Kingpin can pass extracts.
Yes,
I always forget that. I'm always like, it counts as 2. Man, this leadership is maybe too good. And then it's like, oh, you can also just pass off the extracts. Like, you just go do that. I was like, all right then, I see what you got. Like, what did I do? I did one game where I like moved backwards, passed it off, and I was like, cool, Sif charges forward again, and I'm right back on the point where I was. And there was nothing you could do about it. I lost in action, but I wasn't trying to kill you anyway.
Yeah, and that's my big problem with your list is like you have so many fighty models and then you're playing Kingpin. It's like
but that's the tech I'm trying. Is I think you can
I understand. Like, because you don't want to sell
Kingpin.
out, you want to stay flexible, and that's the only way to do it is to have dual purpose models.
Yeah, because I think the duelists benefit from Kingpin because they want to be up in their face anyway. So why not count as 2?
So, just from a philosophy standpoint, do you focus more on preventing your opponent from scoring points with Kingpin, or do you focus on scoring as many points as possible? Because your models are fightier than your average Kingpin models.
Yes. In general, it depends on the game state, but the first round or 2, I go for as many points as I can get. Because I already want to be up in your face, and so I'm trying to, I've had games where like I'm sitting at 10 points end of round 2, just from the amount of things that I have. Because then what I can do is apply the pressure that makes you start pulling apart what you were trying to do, if that makes sense. Like Scoundrels. I've been having a lot of success with Scoundrels because my Asgardians can just go dive their back points, and they have to fight me there or they're going to lose those. And I've got, even if I don't get there, I've got the displacement to go, cool, you're not scoring. I'm scoring middle and my back 2 on top of whatever the extracts are. That's 4 or 5 points a turn for me. So then start of turn 3, they're like, well, I've got to stop you from scoring out. Because I can always collapse backwards. Like, if I get a lucky days or something, I'm like, cool, that extract is mine. That model is taking off to my back point, or to the middle, or somewhere where you are going to have to waste time running me down. And if I'm healthy, I can't remember which game this was. I think it was just a pickup game. But like basically that happened. Like, I charged back point, just smushed the characters, just spike dice. Got their extract. Start of turn 3 was sitting on 10 or 11 points. And they moved up to try and run me down. And this was just, misplay on their part. So I just moved to their back point. I was like, cool. I move. Now I'm on your back point. You have no one there that can stop me. And I'm going to end up the game at 18 points. Because just having that control ability meant that everything went in my favor.
Do you find you have tactic slot space in your list?
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
you
Absolutely.
do?
Yeah. Like,
Like
we can get to
you
that
don't.
next if you want.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you have the space for Baron, you might play Zemo. I
SEMO was a debate for a while. Um,
The big thing is he because the Mighty Thor list I was playing was just maximum turn one charges, and so it was Sif, Valkyrie, Ant Man, Zemo was my go to squad, and with Mighty Thor as the leader, and so you've got 4 turn one chargers with her leadership is a lot of pressure. And then if you need to downgrade one of them, you just downgrade one of them to Wong, and then he makes her a turn one charger. And so you have every list you put on the table, you have 4 people attacking on the first turn.
Yeah.
Which is a lot, right? And then so you play a lot of midline scenarios that force people forward.
And I realize this is probably the wrong term for the game, but I've always really liked a Alpha Strike playstyle, where I just come in, hit you as hard as I can the very first turn, and try and get you on the back foot and create breathing room for myself. So if Ant-Man doesn't work out, it will probably become Zemo. Because, I've got tactics cards, slots out the wazoo, honestly. And
that's surprising because Asgard has like 2 or 3 cards you're probably playing. And
I
then
have 2 Asgardian cards.
Because you have obviously Odin's Blessing.
Correct.
No Rainbow Bridge?
Nope.
There's what's the new card? It's Freya's Blessing or something. I can't remember.
Nope. It's called Freya's Blessing. I have Odin's Blessing. Here, I'll run through my 10 real quick. Okay. Odin's Blessing, Trickster's Boon, Giant's Blood, Patch Up, Warpath, Cruel Tutelage, Shadow Organization, Indomitable, Recal, and All According to Plan. The 2 that I really feel like I could drop is Cruel Tutelage and Shadow Organization because I read them wrong. So,
what did you read wrong about Shadow Org?
Let's see. Oh no, Shadow Org I read correctly. Just Cruel Tutelage then.
What did you read wrong about Cruel Tutelage?
I read that when you roll a skull, you stagger them, and I was like, that's fucking crazy.
That'd be very good.
You get to add 3 dice and stagger them on a skull. He's like, that's a crazy card. Why does no one play that? And then I was like, right? It's still good, but then I was sitting there and reading it, and it's like, oh wait, it staggers me.
Well, a lot of the time you play it when you think you're all in, right? Like, I'm either going to kill you or die, so it's like, oh, fuck, kill me now, I don't care, I'm staggered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've also yet to play Shadow Org. It just never... I'm always like, do I want to play this?
Shadow Org's so good against people like Guardians, though, and Inhumans.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank God, one round where they're not just obliterating me. But yeah, if you're just throwing your models at them, then Shadow Org doesn't do anything, because you're in melee range with them.
Yeah, and that's the other problem, too, is, like I said, there's generally at least 2 Asgardians in the criminals part of the lists, and they can't play that card, so it's like, okay, well, everyone else was kind of already sitting back just scoring points anyway.
Yeah.
But there was no real cards that screamed out to me, like called out to me. It was just like, I gotta bring 10. In general, I have, I don't know, I would like to say at least 70 games with Asgard post-box, and I just never really found a reason to do Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah, I think it's definitely less valuable in today's game where it's just like 5 tokens on every fucking table.
Yeah. And it's also like most people that I was playing wanted that power to go off and charge. And it's like, okay, well, I charge or I spend 3 to place myself when I could just charge anyway.
Let's see. Freya's Blessing is power phase, rerolling order of dice this round. I think that's actually a good card. Freya's Blessing is, I think, underrated. I think, personally, Heart of the Worthy is good. I don't know that it's good for every game, but I think it is good. There's a lot of times you'll get in like late game where it's like, God, I have to daze this person or I lose. And it's like, okay, well, I'll just double activate my best character and get it done. And people like, yeah, but you lose your best character. It's like, it doesn't matter. I got another round out of it. Like the fact that I got to go to round 5 versus not getting to go to round 5. It's like, so my choices were lose my best character or lose the game. I know what I'm fucking picking. Like, yeah, it doesn't always shake out that way, but there's been games where it's like, I would 100% have lost if I didn't have this card.
Yeah. I am willing to try it. You know I love my Mighty Thor. So, let's see. Drop Cool Tutelage.
Also, you can kind of leverage it. Obviously, Doom Prophecy is so much better with it, right? Because then you get 2 super activations.
Yeah.
But also, I think a lot of people, once they see you have it, they play totally differently. They play way more cagey. They're not willing to come into you. And the fact that, like, oh, I've activated Mighty Thor, and now they can just do whatever they want on that side of the board because she's already activated. It's like, well, maybe not, because, I can't move forward or else she'll just fucking kill me.
And you can just play it whenever, right? Yeah, let's see.
No, it's end of activation phase.
But I mean, like, she doesn't have to be injured or anything.
Correct. Yeah, you can just play it.
Pop her. Yeah, I'm willing to give it a try.
Yeah, I've never actually considered using it when she's injured. It's always been when she's healthy. Because it's usually those games where they just ignore her and she's kind of doing her thing, but it's not quite enough.
Yeah.
And then you just turn the corner and you're like, okay, never mind. I'm going to move charge and then move charge again.
Correctly. A lot of people burn her down as soon as she's flipped. Because they're like, she is going to wake up angry. That's bad for you. Or it's bad for me, I mean. And we need to just get her off the table as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, like, I really like the Loki cards just from a gameplay standpoint. They're fun to me. So I have yet to pull off, I think Zach was trying to get me to do this. To do Trickster's Boon plus Usurp the Throne. To score an extra 3 points or something just from a single kill. But that was like, okay, well, there are so many moving pieces to this now to pull off a single play with 2 tactics cards that I think it's cute, but I don't know if it's going to win me a game.
Yeah, it could be good. I don't know.
If your opponent doesn't know it's coming, they're going to be like, shit, okay, yeah, I guess. But they should know it's coming. They should immediately oh, your tactics cards. Okay, well, you're going to go all in on, God, what's his name?
So in my experience, Usurp the Throne only really works when your opponent doesn't understand. Or it's just like a miraculous game setup, right? So often, it ends up being where it's like their highest threat character is not the character you want to be killing. Or it's like out of position. And so because just naturally that's the way they play, like let's say Apocalypse, for example. It's like, well, Apocalypse usually isn't leading the charge in that list. He's usually hanging out waiting to kill someone. And he activates last anyway.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I'm going to throw my 4-point model all the way across the table and hope to one-shot a 7 health character. Like, it's just not going to happen. And then, so you end up playing this cat and mouse game, and all that ends up happening is you end up getting Killmonger dead because he has to stand close enough to Apocalypse to threaten him, and that just ends up getting him killed.
Yeah, and he's not overly tanky. I don't remember.
Right, he's not at all. He's actually like almost made of glass. He's 1 physical defense and 1 hit point above a 3 character. Like, he's not impressive.
I guess
he
does have a charge. Yeah.
He does have charge. And if he has a bunch of power, he can charge range 3 attack, which is a pretty good threat range, but it's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're usually just getting just the 1 attack unless your opponent just walks into it because they don't understand. And if you're beating people like that, you're going to beat them anyway, so.
Correct.
Like, you don't need help against the people who don't know your rules. You need help against people who do know your rules.
Yeah. Any other tactics cards jump out to you?
No, I think you listed some pretty good ones. I'm not a fan of Warpath, but you guys seem to love it, and I admit that it is good in situations.
So I didn't know it actually existed until the last big round of card bans.
Oh, yeah?
And then I kept seeing it in my TTS leagues, and I was like, what the hell? Okay. And then I started playing it, and I was like, no, I like this. Like, this in general is solving the problem of I have a sword, but I'm range 2, and now you're range 3 away, and you just shot me. I'm just like, cool.
Yeah.
That's not, doesn't bother me anymore. I don't play it every game, but if I look across, if I see their list and I see they've got a ton of displacement and stuff like that, I'm like, it's probably worth it. It's 2 tactics cards, but it is very frustrating for an opponent when they try to like push or throw you away. You're like, Endom, Warpath. Okay, cool. I'm actually now closer to you.
So I've never actually thought about MODOK 2 in Criminals as not the leader, but I actually don't hate him as a Kingpin model. Making him count as 2 validates his presence so much more than anything he does. And so, like, that'd actually be kind of cute. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That would be interesting to see. Normally, I highly recommend MODOK 1. The fact that he can't be wilded and he has so many great things. Unfortunately, most of them are killy, but that's not a problem for you.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't actually hate MODOK either.
Issue being that he doesn't have proactive movement, which is less of a problem with Kingpin 1, right? Because it's like you're not trying to nuke them off the table anymore. But he is a size 4. You can't wild him, so usually the only way you're displacing him was with a superpowered throw. Very rarely will you get him out of position otherwise. He has Bow on his card, which is basically free displacement. And then you can just laser down the characters that you do want to kill.
Yeah.
And he's 10 health on a healthy side with that rule and rerolls on defense. Like, he's actually really hard to displace.
You don't know. I've got a couple months to test, so MODOK was on the not quite the short list, but he was right there.
Mm-hmm. But again, you'd have to cut Loki, which you have expressed that you don't want to do.
Nope. I love playing Loki.
Well, there's no question in my mind that Ant-Man and Black Cat are better than Kraven and Taskmaster.
Okay, you are correct. Probably, yes.
So,
I wanted Kraven to be good. He was not. He wasn't bad, right? He kind of just like, cool, I'm going to go around and like score some points, maybe fight some people on the back. Like, he did okay.
Yeah. Kraven's had a weird history in this game because when he was first announced, he had the most hype of any panel to play we've ever seen. And I think we might even want to go look it up. It was so ridiculous because I think the verbiage was he can move 4 times and roll like, they said roll like 48 dice worth of attacks or something. And we were like, what the fuck? This guy's going to be like double charge, double rapid fire on all of his stuff. Like, what the fuck is happening? And it's just like the way they described it was just so like not correct. Basically, they said they took all of the possible moves he could have and then could also combine that with the maximum number of dice he could roll, which he could not do at the same time. But they didn't verbalize that. They just said like, this is his potential. And like, he's going to move 4 times and roll 48 dice. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it was just so stupid. Because they were like counting his reroll die, plus they were counting him throwing in the extra die for a marked target. And they were counting him doing like the maximum number of dice already, and it was just so wrong. And everyone complained online, like, "Why did you say all this?" And then he ends up being just some random 3-pointer.
Yeah, it's like, okay, he's cute. I don't hate his kit. He just
his kit actually is very good. He has a great kit. The problem is his frame, right? Like if he just had better stats, he'd be amazing. The issue is obviously if your opponent knows how he works, you're never going to get the maximum. As where like Gwen has the same concept, but you can't affect what Gwen does. Gwen does what she wants.
Yeah,
and so it's just like the inversion of that same concept. But you can use Kraven in a very meaningful way if you know what you're doing. Is you just always activate him last if you outnumber your opponent, and just like I'm just going to double move and stand on your guy. If you don't activate that model first, he's dead.
Yeah. And
you're like, that's actually not a bad point. He's like, you just activate him immediately, throw a marked target up, and just stab the fuck out of him. You're like, yeah, that's how you kill people. But really what you're doing, using him for, is to force your opponent's first activation. And if they don't, then his value goes up. And so you're leveraging his flaw, turning it into a strength. And that's the way you have to play these kinds of models. The problem is when not everything is perfect and you don't have the privilege of activating him last, because let's say you have to activate Kingpin last because he has to clear a point. Well, now that doesn't work. And so it's all like, rainbows until something goes wrong.
Yeah.
All right. I guess going over. Oh, I guess finishing this up. I think your list is in a good spot. I would like to see you try it with the new models.
I will try them tomorrow. I might have. Do you have Ant-Man at the store?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't own Ant-Man. Neither CJ or I own Ant-Man. So.
Are you asking if I have Ant-Man or if
Yeah.
the store has Ant-Man?
I know the store has Ant-Man.
Okay, well that should fix your problem.
Okay, there you go. Problem solved.
Are you asking to borrow my Ant-Man?
Yes.
I told you the story about my Xbox, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited to see what it can do. I think it's pretty much doing what I want to for the most part. It's just those last couple slots that I need to nail down to see what I can do with it. So.
Yeah, my initial go-to when you were reading your list is like, you need to cut Bill. And then you got to Kingpin. I'm like, all right, Bill's fine.
Yeah, Bill's fine. And the thing is I don't play Bill as much as other Asgardian players do, I feel like whenever I like look up what people are playing or something, they're like, Bill, and I've never liked
I think that's just
Bill.
kind of a holdover. Like, it's just reflex at this point. Sif is so much better than Bill.
She's so much better.
She
does have her games where she just bottoms out, but like a lot of times she's like, yeah, dude, I went on a point, I whooped everyone's ass that came nearby, and I scored that point for 4 rounds and never died. And I was like, cool, that's all I
Especially
can ask
with Kingpin, you're like, if you count as 2, they have to send 4 people at you to hold that point. And it's like,
exactly.
No, fuck off.
I think there was one in Bug Eater, where he had like 2 models over there, and I kept now my dice were hot, and so I kept getting the trigger.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, go away. And then
I'm just gonna
he had to keep
verbalize the potency of what we're talking about. Just imagine Zemo, but he's got more hit points, DR, and higher physical defense, and board manipulation with his attacks. You're like, that sounds incredible. It's like, yeah, that's it. Oh, yep. And she automatically gets 2 power every turn. You have to spend a tax card on it. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah,
the fact that she's not thrown in so many lists on her own. She's the
so
only downside.
Good.
She's speed medium. Like, she's so good.
But she generates the power to either Master Swordsman or charge every single turn.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to worry about movement. She's going to go where she wants to. And if they came to you, congrats. You just got full rerolls. So
yeah, now you get free rerolls, yeah. No, yeah, totally agree. Bill's only in there for the Kingpin.
Yeah.
And then Bill and Sif can even go in there too. Sif's fine with Kingpin.
That's who I've mainly been playing, actually.
Yeah, I assume you're doing
Sif Valkyrie is generally the combo,
Bill,
actually.
Sif Bill Daredevil Kingpin?
No.
So that's only 16 though. But at 18 you can throw in Bullseye.
So
at 17 you just put in Black Cat.
Well, now I'm putting in Black Cat,
yeah.
In general, the list was Kingpin, Loki, Bullseye at 11. And then Sif plus Valkyrie would be 18. And then just kind of mixing and matching depending on what I needed. So
cool. For me, I have thrown together the staples list we built like a little over a month ago, I think now. It was basically the Super Aggression Red Skull 3 list that has a couple different variants. Let me go save this and back to rosters. The list is Red Skull 3, Red Skull 2, Zemo, Mordo, Bob, Nebula, Deadpool, X-23, Logan, and at the time we had said Nightcrawler. I don't own Nightcrawler. I don't like borrowing things, and so I've replaced him with Apex. I figure Apex and Nightcrawler are still fairly different. I know we had talked about Apex at the time we were building this, but because Nightcrawler's job was to kill like Hulks, right? Like the big models that you need to get off the board, and so he can take a run at that. Apex with enough power can do a huge amount of damage to those models, but he's better against everything else. The only question about Apex is can you get enough power? And I'm not really running the list that does that, but I think he'll be fine considering I have the Weapon X splash in there already.
Apex is very, very solid. I'm happy that I don't see him as much as I should because,
dude,
right? He and whatever it is, I know you don't like her, but Apexes are magnetically drawn to my Angela, and
Mhm.
the amount of games where Apex has just gone over and just been like dead.
Yeah,
Just I throw
'cause
myself dead, and
he's an actual model.
I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. Like, what? There,
Yeah.
I can't remember. There was one tournament we went to, and I had to keep asking my opponent. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but can I see his card? He really does that? They're like, yeah. And I'd read it, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? What?
Yeah.
Why is this on a card?
You do the math, like the odds of Angela one rounding him are like not good.
Not good.
Like, and he's like very likely to one round
Yeah.
Angela. It's like, is he really only 4 fucking points?
It's wild to me that him and Logan
Mm.
are 4 points. I'm like, those are great. Those are 5 threats.
Yeah.
There are 5 threats that are envious of what they're doing on the table.
Yeah. Apex. Apply Apex to the affected area and profit.
Yeah.
Like there's been so many games where he's just fucking eaten opposing lists. Where he just like that one game against CJ, I felt so bad because literally Apex just ate his entire list. He's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna throw your Crimson Dynamo into your Mephisto. Crimson Dynamo is KO'd. And then Mephisto takes like 3 damage. Then he pounces into Mephisto, dazes Mephisto. And then he's like, cool, now I'm going to spend her into this guy. And
Yep.
you're like, what the fuck? Kills that person. And you're like, all right, I have an action left. And you're like, what the fuck?
Yep. And then you look at normal Sabretooth, you're like, these are the same threat model? That's wild.
I mean, the weird thing is they're so opposite.
Like they really
and
are.
But they're the same model. It's so weird that they're so similar and so opposite at the same time.
Is Apex Brotherhood?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're both Brotherhood, but only original is Cabal, and only new one is Weapon X.
Gotcha. I remember when we first started playing, and CJ would just tear me a new asshole with Sabretooth.
Oh man, he's
to the
so
point where
good.
like
Yeah.
I was he'd put that model down, and I would just start deploying models on the other side of the board. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere near that guy. Then we learned the game. I was like, okay, this is more manageable. But for so many games in a row, he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna. And I was playing Guardians, and Sabretooth loves nothing more than just, hey, you got a bunch of squishy guys over there with like 2 or 3 defense dice. I'm going to kill them this round. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
There were so many games. I played Magneto, Juggernaut, Apex on Researcher, and it was just put those 3 models in the middle of the board, and obviously Juggernaut standing in front. It's like, what are you fucking who wants to go over there? Not to mention shooting into it is like, okay, cool, I'm going to shoot Jugs undercover. That sounds great. I'm going to profit there. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to try this list, see how fun it is. Hopefully it is a lot of fun. I also like that it's got a Hydra package in there with Bob, Zemo, Red Skull. Mordo, Bob, and Mordo Grunts is one of my most fun combinations I've had in Hydra. Just the Grunts are gonna Hydra assault, so they get the full rerolls, and then Mordo's gonna throw in 2 dice, so it's a 6 dice fully modded attack. They just one shot somebody. He's like, God, fucking dipshits. These little dickheads are just killing people.
Who was I playing? It was a very recent game. It was my final opponent at Bug Eater, who's playing Wakanda as well, Garrett. Wonderful guy. And I think turn 1 or 2, I had to friggin' Odin's Blessing a grunt attack because he got 7 hits, and I got 1. I was like, no,
I'm not taking 6 from
I was
this.
like, I cannot do that because you haven't shot again yet. This was your first attack. And so I had to Odin's Blessing and just be like, are we serious right now? That's crazy. Those I know it's superstition, but those are the most bloodthirsty grunts in the game. They are consistently I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
But they also they're the highest range. They get the most attacks of all the grunts. And so if you just add up all the attacks that have been made by grunts in the game, over half of them are Hydra grunts. So it's fair to say that that's the recollection because it's factual.
Because my ninjas are just there to let me
Yeah,
play
ninjas
ninjas.
almost never attack. They're almost always holding an extract in the back, or they ninja vanish early
Yeah,
to get it on a person they want it on, and then they don't get respawned until turn 4.
yeah. They exist to give Shadowlands Daredevil extra dice.
Hmm.
That's what my ninjas exist for. And then my shield
Exactly.
grunts, I think it in at least 80%, and maybe I was playing wrong. 80% of my games, they would pick an extract up, die turn 1 or 2, and then they would never come on the table again.
I think that's a mistake. Those shield grunts are so annoying for your
It's just
opponent.
because
So annoying.
Nick just didn't generate the power I needed, and I'm having to eye in the sky and like do all that stuff, and it was just like, well, it's either eye in the sky or bring the grunts in, and if I don't eye
Yeah.
in the sky, I'm gonna get double attacked. So
I was playing Convocation a lot when Eye in the Sky was a thing, and maybe that was why I have such a skewed viewpoint of it. But man, every time my opponent eyed in the sky, I'm like, thanks for spending that power. I really didn't want Nick Fury to have more power. And it never bothered me that they used it. I was
yeah,
always like, yeah, that's fine. I'll just do something else. Like, or just still shoot that person, but now they have cover or something.
yeah.
Like, it
You,
was so stupid. It's like, who cares
it's
that
not
you
like it
moved your
takes an
guy?
action away. It's like they
Yeah, I was
just
like,
get it
what are you
back.
doing? Yeah, it was so weird.
Uh,
And I'm sure there's people that like didn't understand the mechanic and like they charged or something and it
yeah.
really fucked up their turn. Like if you know the mechanic, you're just like, I just don't put myself in a bad spot.
I still remember this would have been we'd been playing for about a year, I think, because I try and play my stuff in like 6 month cycles, right? Played Guardians, then I played
Hmm.
Avengers, then I was like, dude, I'm playing Shield. I love Shield. I'm gonna play Shield, and I didn't know anything, and so I like go to play Aaron, and it was one of those things where like I was so dumb that I flabbergasted him because I
Hmm.
didn't think Eye in the Sky was worth playing. I was like, this is not good. And
Hmm.
so I go to play him. He's like, oh, I didn't plan for you not to have Eye in the Sky. And I was like, oh, yeah, totally. And throughout the whole game we were playing, he's like,
He's like trying to play around it because
yeah,
it's like
he's like,
in
I
his
can't,
brain. He's like, well, he
yeah.
has this.
And he's like, I can't believe you didn't bring Eye in the Sky. I would have never guessed someone would do that. I was like, yeah, man,
Yeah.
totally. Like, I'm definitely, this was a
Mhm.
high level play. And then I think I started adding Eye in the Sky back into front of this. So I was like, okay, this is probably actually good.
Yeah.
Other Shield players are saying that, so.
Um. Yeah. One of my favorite interactions was Red Skull grunts triggering Malekith leadership so that Red Skull would move into range to then shoot somebody. It was so punishing.
Wonderful. It's non-grunts
Yeah.
now, isn't it?
I don't know that it is.
I
It
don't
might
think
be.
it ever got updated.
I don't think they changed it. The leadership's always been like the best part about him. I'm checking. Allied character dazes or KOs enemy character. Yeah, I don't think it is.
So you can still do that?
I think so.
Spicy.
Yeah,
I like it.
because they made the character unplayable, so who cares what his leadership is,
Well,
right?
yeah. He's actually probably my next one I want to look at after I'm done with this.
Yeah, see, because I mean, the list they're getting played right now, like the big scary things that pushed him out personally, aren't really in the game anymore. Like Thanos and CGR are gone, and those were the boogeymen he couldn't deal with. And even Immortal Hulk, which was another problem he had, I haven't seen Immortal Hulk on the table in forever. And I know people play him, I just don't see it. Which, by the way, I still can't believe they haven't fixed Immortal Hulk. That blows me away. They've dumpstered every other like Apex threat, and
It's
they just don't care.
one of the few NPEs left for me in the game.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, man, I did all this work to get it. Oh fuck, it didn't matter. Okay, cool. What did my opponent do? Turn 1, moved over, patch up. Cool, he's back at full health. It's like, okay, I guess, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really have any Midnight Suns players playing it.
Yeah, and that part of the reason is like it's such a one-dimensional list that like a lot of our players don't play that kind of stuff very often, and when they do, they get off of it pretty quickly, and so we just don't see it around here. And the thing that annoys me is like it's exactly my kind of playstyle list. I just don't like playing Midnight Suns for some reason. Like I've tried playing them multiple times, and they just don't feel right. And so it's something about the list is hurting my enjoyment of it, and so I should probably just try it again, but.
They're one of those ones I've always thought about getting around to. But then I start looking at like, well, I got to buy this box and this box and this box, and I could just kind of play stuff I already have to do killy stuff. Like it's not like a drastically different kind of gameplay, right?
Mm. Yeah, I think for me it's mostly that like I look at their abilities and I see what I want to play, which is kind of like the Midnight Suns list Spencer used to play back in the day. So it's like a control list with Doctor Strange, and you don't really see that list played because the Immortal Hulk option is there, and you can't play both. There aren't enough slots and there aren't enough cards. And so I look at the list and I see what it could be, but then I also want to play Big Monster, and you can't do both.
Yeah. Maybe you should just start playing an all monsters list. Even though the 3 wide list is dead for the most part.
Yeah, I think it is. I don't think there's any
I
value to it.
honestly
you just lose. Yeah.
Don't remember the last time I saw it. Let alone E's went away, but also and 15s, but also like the game doesn't let you do 3 with what we're at right now. It's too fast paced.
Yeah, I mean there's just too many points on the board, right?
Yeah.
Like your opponent just wins for free. You can't stop them. You don't have enough usable pieces. Anyway, well, I'm going to try the Go Get 'em list. Give it a shot, and you'll try your criminals list.
Correct.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys had fun. This has been Brandon.
This has been Josh.
And you've just listened to Apex.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.